There is a moment, usually somewhere between the second hour and the fourth, when something in you goes quiet. Not peaceful. Quiet in the way a room goes quiet when something has been removed from it. You are sitting in a conference hall, or a retreat space, or a rented ballroom with the windows blacked out, and the person at the front of the room is speaking directly to the part of you that has always felt like it was failing, and something shifts, something opens, a T, and you tell yourself, this is growth. It isn't always growth. There is a technology that has been used across centuries, across ideologies, across institutions, by governments, by religious organizations, by military programs, and by men with microphones and $1,000 tickets. It doesn't have a single name, but it has a structure. And once you can see the structure, you cannot unsee it. This is what cults and coaches have in common. The first element is environmental control. Before any belief is installed, the environment is prepared. In a cult compound, this looks like isolation, physical removal from family, from daily routine, from everything familiar. In a seminar, it looks different but functions identically. You are in a room for 12 hours. You are discouraged from leaving. Breaks are controlled. Sleep is compressed. Meals are minimal or irregular. Your phone is in your bag, or you've been encouraged, gently, enthusiastically, to put it away. The nervous system does not distinguish between a compound and a convention center. What it registers is, I am cut off from what is normal. I am dependent on this environment for orientation. And the person controlling this environment begins to feel, to some part of your unconscious processing, like safety itself. This is not metaphor. This is how the brain responds to controlled environments. The research is clear. And the practitioners who use this, whether they know it consciously or not, are using it deliberately. The second element is identity disruption. Every high control system begins by telling you that who you are right now is the problem. The cult calls it your old self, your ego, your unconverted state. The coach calls it your limiting beliefs, your small self, your conditioning. The language changes, the mechanism is identical. You are brought to the edge of yourself through emotional exercises, through confession, through public vulnerability, through sleep deprivation or physical exhaustion, and at the edge. You are told, this version of you is why you are suffering. The new version is waiting. And the person in front of you holds the key. What happens in that moment is not transformation, destabilization. And any stabilized identity is an identity that can be rewritten. The question is always, by whom, and for what purpose, The third element is information control. In every high control system, there is a doctrine, a way of explaining everything, a framework that, once adopted, makes the outside world seem naive, asleep, or threatening. In a cult, this is theology. In a coaching ecosystem, it is methodology, the proprietary system, the trademarked framework, the language only insiders understand. And critically, there is always an explanation for doubt. Doubt is reframed as resistance. Skepticism is reframed as fear. Questioning the system is evidence that you are not yet ready to receive the system. This is called thought-terminating language. It does not silence doubt by answering it. It silences doubt by making doubt the enemy. Once you are inside a framework that explains away its own criticism, you are no longer thinking, you are reciting. The fourth element is emotional manipulation. High control environments are not cold. They are not harsh. The most effective ones are extraordinarily warm. There's love bombing, intense affirmation, belonging, the feeling of being finally seen and chosen. Stairs manufactured breakthrough, the designed emotional peak. It's the orchestrated collapse and recovery, the moment the room erupts in tears and applause. There is us versus them, the sleeping world outside, and the awakened community within. And after the peak, there is the drop. The ordinary world feels gray. Your old life feels insufficient. The relationships around you feel shallow. And the only place that still carries the texture of that peak, is back in the room. Back with the group. Back with the coach. This is not a side effect. This is the architecture. None of this means that transformation isn't real. It is. It's the longing that brings people into these rooms is real. The hunger for identity, for meaning, for belonging, for a self that finally makes sense. That hunger is not weakness. It is human. But hunger makes you vulnerable to whoever is holding the food. The distinction between a teacher and a controller is not always visible in the language they use. It is visible in what they do with your uncertainty. A genuine guide makes you more capable of thinking for yourself. A controller makes thinking for yourself feel like betrayal. You already know which one you've encountered. You've known for a while. The question was never whether you were smart enough to see it. The question was whether you were ready to let yourself